What if a single Bitcoin could one day buy every house on your street and leave some spare change for coffee? And what if that rocket ride drags your stack of XRP along for the journey? Well, picture this. It's a humid July evening 2025. I'm doom scrolling, half asleep, when a headline sucker punches me. Michael Saylor says Bitcoin could hit $21 million. 21 million. Now I spit out my tea, I flip my phone and pace the room like I just found a golden ticket. Now Saylor's wild prediction, it isn't a six-figure hope or maybe even just a cool million, right? It's a moonshot so audacious that it needs its own zip code. And tucked inside that headline is a sleepy kind of, at least a sleeper subplot. If Bitcoin really does sprint that far, what happens to my humble XRP stash? So here's how the madness started. Now, Saylor's speech came off kind of a hot off the stage at the BTC kind of Prague 2025 conference. And he told the crowd, glasses glinting like that kind of prophet under stadium lights, that shifting regulation, corporate adoption, the whole enchilada could actually push Bitcoin to 21 million bucks in the kind of next 21 years. So 1 million a year, give or take. Now I know that that sounds like a kind of child scribbling zeros on a napkin, but the man's conviction was nuclear. And his logic? Well, it's the regulatory clouds hanging over crypto that are finally parting. And once institutions feel the sunshine, the floodgates open. Now, that was his kind of sermon. It's short, bold, impossible to unhear. Now, I've been around the block enough times to know the moment that Bitcoin sneezes, the entire altcoin market catches a cold. Or, on happier days, inherits a trust fund. So if Bitcoin coughs its way to an all-time high, coins like XRP usually tag along like enthusiastic little siblings. Now the tricky part is parsing out how much of Big Brother's growth bleeds into Baby Brother's chart. And that, dear friends, had me dusting off a calculator at 2 in the morning. First, I needed a baseline, right? Right now, well, at least at the time of recording and at the time of Saylor's kind of mic drop, Bitcoin sat at around $107,000. Respectable, sure, but it's the size, at least still a pea-sized pebble, I guess, next to that Mount Everest of $21 million. So doing the math, that climb is roughly 19,526%. Yeah, you heard that right, 19,526%. And my calculator actually wheezed. Then I pivoted to our protagonist, XRP. Mid-scroll, she's trading hands at around $2.21 at the point of Michael Saylor's mic drop. Modest, unassuming, and the wallflower of the crypto prom. Now, if XRP mirrors Bitcoin's hypothetical 19,526% sprint, we're staring at a future sticker price of about $431 per coin by 2046. So let's let that soak in for a second. From couch change to the cost of a new PlayStation each. My eyebrows kind of left orbit. There's another nugget that'll also make you raise an eyebrow. Drop 10 grand into XRP today and you're kind of bagging roughly 4,545 tokens. Drag those tokens through a 19,526% growth spurt and theoretically, emphasis on theoretically, you walk away with $1.9 million. Over 21 years, sure, but that's the kind of math that messes with bedtime. Now, before your imagination gallops off to the Lamborghini dealership, here's something that I learned the hard way in 2018. Markets are allergic to straight lines. Even if Bitcoin marches to Saylor's summit, there's no cosmic law, obligating XRP or any altcoin to keep up pace. Correlation is, flirtation. It's not marriage. One misstep, a bad headline, or a regulatory curveball, and your gains can vanish faster than last night's pizza. And that brings me to the problem chewing at the back of my mind. How do we navigate hope without inhaling hopium? And I've got friends tossing out phrases like generational wealth around like confetti at every potential uptick. Meanwhile, of course, the other half of my group chat swears Bitcoin will crater back to 4 figures by Christmas. And the challenge, it isn't just predicting price. It's kind of saying and staying logical when the discourse is louder than the jet engine. So I did what any numbers nerd would go ahead and do. I broke the scenario into bite-sized reality checks. Reality check number 1. Timeline. 21 years is a long stretch. iPods were cutting edge 21 years ago. Kids entering college in 2046 haven't even been born yet. 1,000 macro events could derail or supercharge this path. Reality check number 2 then. Percentages hide the pain. Now, a 19,526% climb disguises countless gut-wrenching drops along the way. Imagine seeing, your portfolio swing 80% down mid-trip. Do you still hodl with diamond hands, or does your gut hit the eject button? Now, it's somewhere around here that I glanced at the tiny blue ink under the video, the one leading to our completely free educational Discord server. Now, if you haven't jumped in just yet, you need to get on that, right? It's basically a 24/7 coffee shop where we compare notes and charts and occasionally meme ourselves into sanity. The link's tucked in the description. Swing by, you can lurk or you can chat, however you roll. But let's get back to our midnight math session, shall we? Now, I wanted to see the numbers in human scale, so I scribbled a story in my notebook. Picture Sarah, a school teacher who sets aside $100 a month for crypto. Now, she discovers XRP at $2.21 and rides it to that mythical $431 mark. Her $100 monthly drizzle snowballs into a retirement parachute. It's a heartwarming thought, right? Until you realize that Sarah also needs nerves of steel, the patience of a monk, and a Wi-Fi that never quits. Because every bull run kind of cooks up a fresh batch of FUD, that's fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and form of a souffle that can sink even the stoutest kind of stomachs. Now, this might just shock you, but I'm not a financial advisor and nothing in this video is financial advice. Cryptocurrencies are highly volatile and you could lose all of the money that you invest. You should always do your own research and consult a qualified professional. Your investments are entirely your responsibility, and you should know that nothing is ever guaranteed when it comes to investing. Neither I, this channel, nor YouTube are liable for any losses, and this video today is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Okay, glad we kind of danced that dance together. Now, let's kind of stir in one more ingredient: human psychology. Right, money isn't numbers, it's emotions wearing a price tag. So if XRP ever kind of starts creeping towards triple digits, well, Twitter will kind of devolve into when Lambo hysteria faster than you can refresh CoinMarketCap. Now, that social pressure can push even seasoned investors into buying at least the top, and of course panic selling at the bottom. I've done both personally, and it kind of feels like salsa dancing in roller skates. It's spectacular until you hit a wall. Now, to keep myself grounded, I like to play a mental game that I call What Would Grandma Say? Now, Grandma never cared about tokenomics, but she understood value and patience. So whenever a headline screams 21 million Bitcoin, I imagine her squinting over her glasses and asking, but do you need the money tomorrow? Now, if the answer is yes, well, the coin is a dangerous place to kind of park your rent money then. And if the answer is no, maybe, just maybe, time is on your side. Now, speaking of stacking for the future, if you're looking for a place to actually buy or sell your digital shiny rocks, then I use Kraken Pro. Full disclosure, of course, the link in the description is an affiliate link that supports the channel at no extra cost to yourself. So think of it as tossing a tip in the jar while, getting access to deep liquidity and slick charting tools. Now, before you go off sprinting to open a fresh trading tab, let's kind of chew on the flip side of this, right? Volatility fatigue, right? 21 years is long enough for entire economies and economic regimes to rise and fall, right? Between now and 2046, you're likely to see at least 3 global recessions, a couple of surprise interest rate pivots, and who knows, maybe a Mars colony IPO, right? Each macro shock is a pothole on the Bitcoin superhighway, if you will. And those potholes can jolt XRP holders so hard that they abandon the car mid-journey. So that is where something called alt-season whiplash kind of sneaks in. Now, history shows that when Bitcoin's dominance surges, altcoins can lag, bleeding patience out of the investors faster than air from a tire. Then, suddenly, like ketchup from a stubborn bottle, everything gushes all at once, XRP included, only to slam on the brakes days later. Now, riding that pattern for 2 decades demands Zen-like calm or a very forgiving therapist. Another dimension that people ignore is life math. So let's say you're 35 today, eyes kind of sparkling at the idea of retiring at 56 with a cool $2 million. Sounds amazing, but life math also includes weddings, medical bills, and a fridge that will inconveniently die right before the holidays. Now, will you be able to stare at a 6-figure XRP balance during a bear dip and not cash out to replace the fridge? That's the sort of real-world decision tree that no price chart captures. There's also the psychological grind of confirmation bias, right? As the years roll by, you'll hunt down every tweet, article, and TikTok clip that agrees with your moonshot. Now, the danger is turning a healthy hypothesis into a kind of, quasi-religion. Now, I keep a sticky note on my monitor that reads, "Cool motives, still math." Now, it kind of reminds me that belief doesn't bend market reality. Only liquidity, adoption, and sometimes sheer luck do. So I kind of chunk my plan into checkpoints. 1 year, 5 years, 10. Right? Every milestone I'll reassess rather than look myself in a kind of 21-year bunker. Right? Markets, they do evolve, right? Personal risk tolerances can change. And frankly, I don't even know if YouTube will still be, algorithmically recommending this video by 2046. So maybe we'll be kind of beaming content straight into kind of neural implants. Maybe the word crypto will feel like as quaint as maybe dial-up does today. Meanwhile, of course, I keep a slither of capital nimble because the journey itself can birth unexpected opportunities, layer 2 networks, new staking models, you name it. And if XRP lags, maybe something else can step up. Right? Flexibility isn't capitulation, it's a survival gear. Now, during my late night research rabbit hole, I revisited a sobering detail in that article, right? Bitcoin's stumble from June 19th to 22nd, it kind of dragged XRP down in lockstep. Nothing unusual, just the classic kind of crypto seesaw. Yet, it kind of underlines a brutal truth, right? XRP's destiny is tied in part to Bitcoin's rhythm. If Bitcoin stutters, XRP usually crawls. So while Saylor's Thunderbolt implies, it also kind of, at least as I should say it implies and inspires, it also kind of foreshadows, 21 years of codependency on Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin hiccups, does XRP choke? Probably, right? And if Bitcoin rockets, does XRP fly? Also, possibly. But certainty, like cheap gas, remains extinct. So let me kind of paint one last kind of mental image then, right? You're standing at a fork in a road. Path A is the straight, cautious route. Index funds, bonds, maybe the occasional tech stock. Slow and steady, pays the bills, maybe gets the kids through college. Plan B is the winding trail marked crypto wildness. Enter at your own risk. Now, somewhere down that trail sits a chest labeled $431 XRP, $1.9 million. Now, the chest itself might just be empty. The trail might be blocked by regulatory boulders, or the chest might be overflowing. But you arrive too scared or too late. That's the thrill, the puzzle, the gamble, and that is why we keep showing up. Now at 3 in the morning, I closed my laptop, I rubbed my eyes, and I tried to decide what the numbers meant for me personally. Now I reached a kind of self-conclusion, or a soft conclusion I should say, that I'm not betting the farm. But I'm not ignoring the possibility either. Now, I treat XRP and all altcoins like experimental rocket fuel, potentially explosive, worth a small allocation, but certainly not what I would use to kind of power my minivan, let's say. And that, my friends, was the roller coaster of emotions, math, hope, and caution that sparked by one Michael Saylor soundbite in Prague. Now, whether Bitcoin kind of scrapes $21 million or fizzles back to 6 figures, the exercise of kind of projecting out to kind of 2046, it forces us to confront our assumptions, our time horizons, and tolerance for the chaos. And it's less kind of about guessing the exact price tag and more about understanding the ride that you're signing up for. So here's my parting thought then. Future fortunes are built not just on the numbers, but on the patience, the research, and the community that keeps you sane. And that's why our free educational Discord exists, and why I'll keep crunching the wild scenarios that you don't have to. Check the links, poke around, and if you found value here, smash that subscribe button so that we can chase the next big what if together.